you able to give her that understanding because she's seeking it. And so she's emotionally
Hmm.
bought into wanting to understand. Now you can have the discussion
Yeah.
and all that because you don't want to get into trying to convince her or ask permission. That never is good because that's not leading.
Now, mind you, you could have respect for somebody and not love them.
Yep.
All right. Like, how many of you guys have a really crappy boss, right? That's always on your butt, but you don't disrespect him because that's where you get your food. That's where you get your money, right? So you do what he says, regardless if you like him or not. You don't love him, you respect his position and his title, right? And sometimes, like, I honestly say, like, I don't need, you know, you to tell me how much you love me. I need you to show me how much you respect me. And that's more important for me to see. But that to me still translates love. If you
Yeah.
could respect me, that means that I know you can love me. And
Yes.
if you don't respect me, then I don't think you can love me.
Hmm.
Or you love aspects of me, or you love things that I provide, but you don't love me.
Right.
And that's where
That's
I'm saying,
such
I
a
think
good
it's
point.
just
Hmm.
I think
It's
to
a very
answer
good
Scott's
point.
question, I think it's love and respect are the same thing. And they're just as equally important.
From her to him, yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
and I agree with you. That's such a good point because women can and are capable of sort of making a guy feel that like he's loved in a sense when she wants something or when it serves her.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so, but she's really gonna have a rough time showing that guy respect though in times when,
Hmm.
especially in
It's not
times
going her way.
and things aren't going her way, right? And so a good way
Yep.
to see if she really truly is capable of having that love for you and has that is she treating you with respect when she's not really that happy with you. That's a big indicator right there. She might not be emotionally close to you. She might not be wanting to hold your hand at that moment. Okay. She might be needing a day or two off from you, but she's not being outright disrespectful or
Yeah.
contemptuous to you during that time. And usually, like when girls can get a little critical and get sort of shit testy, she's not doing that when she's actually mad because she doesn't want it to go into contempt or go into disrespect because in her mind she knows that she loves you and she wants to protect
Hmm.
that love or that eros. And that's good. That's a good green flag for you guys.
Yeah.
If she is doing things to try to protect the love she has for you and not diminish it, that's a good partner
Hmm.
because it's been said in the Christian circles, and I agree and disagree at the same time because there's reasons I think it's abused the statement, but there's reasons where I think it's true. Right, is that love is a choice. So that's interesting because we say attraction is not a choice in the sexual dynamics world, which is true. Attraction isn't a choice per se; it's a response. But love is a choice, and a lot of Christian circles say that. And again, I think they abuse that statement and use that as an excuse for guys to have zero standards for themselves or whatever. But in a sense, though, that is true once you have that all the components of eros are there for that partner, you have to
Hmm.
choose to protect that. Now that doesn't mean destroy your own life for that because if your partner has that eros, that love for you, she's not going to put you in that spot where you'd have to do that. She's not going to devalue you like that. But you actually have to protect that. And it means when you have a conflict, even if that conflict means like, dude, we I don't know if we're gonna make it. I don't know if we might be broken up in a month because of this conflict we're having, but you still
Hmm.
protect that eros until it's over and you have to break contact and move on completely. You protect that love you have for her, and she does the same for you. If she's not doing that for you, you need to work on that. And if it can't be worked through, it needs to be a consider end in the relationship because it'll end for you. not on your terms. You know what I mean? Know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and
yeah.
like I've been a victim of that. Like you know my story. Like
Oh,
you
sure.
know, I've lived through it. And I realized in my own problem was like, you know what? I wasn't showing myself enough respect by tolerating certain behaviors. I wasn't showing myself enough love by enduring certain things that I shouldn't have had to deal with, or I didn't like, or that caused hurt toward me. But I ended up being my own. I allowed it. So I'm almost as much as guilty for her actions as she is for her actions, because I permitted it. I excused it. I said, oh, it's okay. I love you. I'm going to let it go. Loving someone does not necessarily mean or forgiving someone also does not necessarily mean reestablishing them back to the place that you once put them in the beginning.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Exactly. And if the way I look at it, okay, when me and my girl got together, my girl's good looking, and she's very, very banging body. And I had an issue with clothing at times. I'm like, hey, you know what? I really don't think that's appropriate. I don't like that, or I don't like that bathing suit. Not in public. And it took a minute, and this is where my respect for her is that I didn't force her to go change. I explained to her, why
she
this is
honored
a problem
your
for
boundary,
me.
and that is what
she honored my boundaries. And it's funny now when we go shopping,
even if she disagreed with it, she honored it, and
she disagreed with it for a long time. She didn't understand it, and it wasn't that she disagreed so much as she just didn't understand it. She's like, "Well, why guys want to see hot women? Guys want to, everybody else to know that they have a hot wife or a hot woman with them. Like, isn't that what you want?" I said, "Yeah, I don't need that. Like, I know I have a hot woman, and your hotness, that's mine. Okay, like that's for my eyes only." And as soon as I start seeing it for other people's eyes, then to me, that's not sacred to me. You're making it, you're giving it to everybody else. And then when she realized that
she's your representative, that's why. So like,
exactly,
she's representing you in the way that would, in a sense, you're her representative too. And we need to think about
exactly.
I'm terrible. I've been caught on that one because I'm who says things because I make it funny or I cross a boundary on around, and then it's like, oh, wait a second, I'm not really representing like my girl in the right way, like
as best exactly,
good, man. Like now I needed to reel that shit in here a little bit. It's not the locker room.
And what's funny is now it's like my girl comes up to me now and she's like, hey, she's like, we'll be going shopping. She's like, I didn't really like anything because I thought anything was a little too scantily clad. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it was that's respect. That is her respecting me. It's not her saying, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna wear this. Oh, sorry, I dropped the F-bomb. She makes sure that she's not, and she does it as a respect for me. It doesn't necessarily mean that was her natural way of doing things. Is that she respects my opinion and who I am to her enough to make sure that she's not going to disrespect me in that way. And then my turn in respect for her is not to make sure that I'm not giving any other woman attention because they're dressed in a certain way. I'm keeping my eyes on my girl because that's where the respect is. So the respect goes both ways. If she does something like that for you, your respect for her is to keep your eyes on her because that's who your girl is.
Let's face it. If you're a man, then you are probably dealing with problems and challenges with women. Your success with women literally boils down to one thing. When you have this one thing, all of your troubles disappear and you start having amazing experiences that most men can only dream of. And that's the good news. But the bad news is, if you don't have it, nothing else will work. Advice on the internet and all the best pickup and game skills out there will fail without you mastering this one thing. And that one thing is frame. Develop the skills in establishing and keeping frame, and everything else follows. That is the big secret. And the good news is I can teach you all you need to know about it. Amazing Life with Women is just one click away. After this video, click on the link in the description to schedule a free consult to see if you are a good fit. Click the link and let's get started.
You're not going to disrespect them by talking about other women or looking at other women in that type of manner. And so when I look at that, like, it goes both ways. Respect does go both ways, but at the same time, you have to understand that it takes understanding and letting them understand why you feel this way or why. And that's why I said, like, what's a way to show women respect is to show them understanding and to educate them on why. Not just because, well, I'm the man and I say so. We're the parents of this relationship and this is how it's going to be if you either get with it or kick rocks. No, understand why you're moving in that direction. That is respecting, a woman to me.
Caring, I would say I would, the way I explain that, I don't disagree with you, but I do explain there's nuances to that because guys will fuck that one up. And so the nuances really, and so I'm looking at it like I care about her well-being. I'm empathetic towards her, and that includes her emotional buy-in and her getting her needs met. And so like, let's say as far as helping her understand something, do you know what I mean? For example, or making her like explaining something to her. It's not so much like I won't always get into an explanation. In fact, a lot of times I don't because that doesn't work too well. A lot of times it's emotional buy-in that I need. She needs to feel that this is the right answer first. And then maybe sometimes she wants to understand why. Like, so when you told your girl, like, hey, it's not a strip club. Let's not go to the beach like that. But I'm sure you didn't say it like that though, because that might be a wrong way of saying it. So see, that's where I get myself in trouble. I'm in trouble now. So yeah, this is but really though, in a tactful way say that. And she doesn't really agree because she doesn't understand your perspective. Well, what she does have, she has emotional buy-in. She has emotional buy-in to want to be with you. And so she goes, well, I want to be with Glenn. Glenn thinks this way. I think that's kind of retarded. And I don't really agree right now because wouldn't he want me to look pretty? But I'm going to go change though. But then she says, I'm emotionally bought into this. So I'm not mad at you for it, but I don't understand your perspective. And then she's trying to seek that understanding. Okay, cool. Like, are you able to give her that understanding because she's seeking it? And so she's emotionally bought into wanting to understand. Now you can have a discussion and all that because you don't want to get into trying to convince her or ask permission. That never is good because that's not leading. Please go change. Like that's not what it is, right? You don't want to be trying to convince her that this is the right thing. She has to want to understand your perspective. And then whether she agrees or not, she complies to it because that's the boundary you have as her partner. And that's submission. You know what I mean? And that's submission in a good way, not the way that feminists say never would cringe at the word submission.
And it's not about control. Where you're looking that up, like it's not about control. I'm not a controlling person. I really don't want to control anybody. I want to control myself. That's it. Okay. So if you want to do this certain thing and you want to behave that certain way, and that's fine. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm telling you it's wrong for me. So you're more than welcome to go do that. My girl's more than welcome to do whatever she wants. But if it's to be with me, if her wanting to be with me is the question, then you can't do that because that doesn't fit in my frame. Okay. And that's okay. That's not me controlling anybody. It's not me giving them an ultimatum. It's me basically saying, I can't do this for this because it doesn't fit me. It may fit you and that's fine. Go do you, boo-boo. But it doesn't fit me.